DevOps friends, welcome to Full Stack Live. I'm Jochen, the Monospace Mentor, and I have another live coding and live working stream for you. I hope you're having a great Thursday so far. I can't complain. I was pretty productive, but also this week my schedule is pretty relaxed and everything is going smoothly. I'm quite happy how we are making progress as a team, and especially, of course, I'm happy with my own progress because I can't take that for granted. I still remember vividly the weeks of late 2023, and I wasn't productive at all, in part because I was terribly tired all the time, which by now I would say was SAD, seasonal affective disorder. But I'm fighting that both with vitamin D supplements as well as with daily walks in the morning sun. Did one this morning as well, 5 kilometers, and crisp and cold, I have to say. And that's why I'm wearing my nice little woolen hat again. I'm leaving the window open just so I don't suffocate in here, but that requires a little bit of countermeasures against the cold. We still have around freezing here on the east coast of Ireland, and try to keep my noggin warm. If you'd like to make the show more interactive, please pop into chat and feel free to ask questions whenever you find something strange, or if you'd like me to explain something, or if you have a question of your own, if there is anything that you'd like to know about Linux system administration, software engineering, IT career, Ruby programming, all these things, I'm more than happy to try and help you. And it'll make it much easier for me because I don't have to make this a 3-hour monologue. All right, so as my plan command says, I'm going to build some more automation around databases. This time I'd like to help automate setting up replication between two databases a little bit easier, and then when that's done, I'm going to continue my work on the Varnish course that I'm going to do later this year. A course about the Varnish proxy, which is great to boost the performance of a website or web application. You do not need a CDN, even if people tell you so, that it's necessary to have perfect site performance. Simply run Varnish in front of your web application, and you basically get the same benefits as you do from a CDN, but you're hosting it yourself. You have full control over it, and you can do a lot of special stuff that most CDNs don't allow you to do. You can change the behavior of your content caching with regard to cookies, with regard to HTTP headers, all kinds of stuff. And Varnish is great that way, and since I'm pretty passionate about using Varnish, I decided to make it into a course where we'll do both the theoretical side of things, but also a lot of practical experiments. And that requires a little bit of course material that I'm probably going to work on today. But first, let's get into the replication automation. So I'm already in my Chef Cookbooks directory here, and what I'd like to do is open up GitLab and create a new issue in our cookbooks repository, if there isn't one yet. Let's see what there is. For the MySQL Freestyle cookbook, where this replication setup is going to happen, There isn't any, so let's create a new issue simply so I can reference it from my branch name in which I'm going to make my changes. Balthasar, welcome to the stack. Good to have you. I hope you had a good start into your Thursday. How's life over there? How's the temperatures? Set up replication source. This is going to be a single issue. It doesn't have to be an umbrella issue like this template implies. Even though, yeah, having the checklist wouldn't hurt, I guess. So let's write the goal description. Since we're running most of our MySQL databases as replication clusters, the cookbook needs to simplify its setup. And we'll go... Well, I'll leave the labels as they are assigned. At least then that way I have all these scoped labels, WF for workflow, scope, and Zev for severity. Overnight lows of -10 degrees. That is cold. That is frosty. Could basically save electricity by taking all the stuff out of your fridge and simply putting it outside. Oh wow, that's an amazing outcome. More than 40k. Well done you. That's brilliant. Feel free to leave a link to your project so we can maybe help it even further. So let's assign that label to me. We'll also set a a label. What does the tilde mean, by the way? Oh, brilliant! That's just the symbol for labels, and then I get a select box. So if I type MySQL, oh, that's amazing. GitHub, well done. That's MySQL Fry still. Okay, love that. Everything that I can do with a keyboard is good. So now we have to update those labels a little bit. I just had them created as a crutch for my brain. Scope infra is correct, feature is correct. Workflow will go with the workflow will go directly into implementation. And that's that. Okay, so 893. Let's create a branch for that. Last minute changes, huh? It's always the same. That's always the same. Right in front of right ahead of a launch, things tend to get frantic, and the results tend to be a little bit messy. But hey, that's how the sausage is made, isn't it? Okay, so 893 MySQL replication. Nope, it's not known because I'd like to create it. So how about that? Maybe I should get a GCB alias instead of the GCO alias with the -b. I don't have a GCB alias, do I? Wouldn't be surprised. Okay. Well, then let's create one, shall we? Here are my dot files, and where are the Git? Wait. Do I have my own section? Oh, that's not... Wait. That's in here. Okay. So, where's the GCO though? GCO is down here. Should it be down there? I made separate sections for branches and stuff. Okay. Oh, there's a GNB. Git new branch. Why not? Let's get used to GNB then. It doesn't really matter what alias it is, as long as it's efficient. Exegete joining the stack. Good morning to you, sir. I hope you're doing well. Okay, GNB. Trying to remember that next time. That's a thing that I find fascinating. Getting, giving people incentives to do specific things. In this case, to donate, and a tool-assisted speedrun. Can you tell us a little bit more how this speedrun worked and how your code was tied to that? Oh, that's an OBS plugin or something? Let me see. Okay, so you have a script that talks to the WebSocket interface. Nice. Yeah, I realized recently that I really need to do much more with OBS. But hey, there's a new channel point redemption in case I again forget to switch scenes. You can now redeem the can't see reward. That will tell me that I again failed to show what I am telling. Okay, so that okay, I get it now. So that's a charity event where people do speedruns and people can donate to determine or to guess how the speedrun will end. Okay, let's go into MySQL cookbook. Where is it? So I guess we're talking about the server recipe. And I think it's a good idea to continue this theme here where we modularize stuff into smaller recipes. And I guess I'll make a private replication recipe. AGTQ has bid challenges. Unlock additional challenges to ooh, yeah, okay. So you can pay for better entertainment. That's brilliant. Maybe it's just that I'm not familiar with AGTQ. game's done quick, right? Mm-hmm. Is that going on right now? It looks like it, right? Okay. And what's the tool assisted speedrun? It's not AI doing the speedrun, right? Now, for the replication, we'll need a few attributes. So I guess the thing that I'd like to do is simply write a file. So that's going to be a template. Wait, what did Copilot here? It just suggests a configuration file. I'm thinking more along the lines of an SQL file that creates the replication or sets up the replication connection. So we'll call it replication.sql. Yeah, that's okay. We'll use an ERB file as our source. The owner is going to be root. Group is going to be root. Mode is going to be 0600. And we're not going to make this a string because Ruby has these nice octal numbers. That way, it's a little bit more close to the metal. Tool-assisted speedrun is a speedrun that, instead of being performed by a human, is performed by some sort of automation. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine that. You can basically script that to the millisecond. But that's cheating! So, are we going to use all the node attributes directly in the template? I think we'll do. Oh, this Senso configuration can go. We're not setting up Senso anymore. No, I was just kidding. I mean, it's clear that it's automated, and that's fun as well. Yeah, I'm sure. Seeing what the automation can do and maybe what it can't even. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah. With a controller that has a with a cross controller that rocks, it's of course impossible to press opposite sides at the same time. Yeah. It's cheating, but it's pre-announced cheating, so no harm done. What I'd rather do is create my replication.sql.erb, and that's going to be a simple create. Well, let's look up how this actually works. We'll use the MySQL 8 version as per default, and since we might have to replace Ubuntu 16 machines in an emergency, I'll also create a version that works with MySQL 5. So let's look up how this is actually going to look like. MySQL setup replication. Well, MySQL set replication source host and these other things. It's change replication source. Yes. Gotcha. So that's the MySQL 8 version, which is already using more modern terms. It's not going to change master and slave. Instead, it's going to say change replication source. Let's maybe put this here. Change replication source 2. We'll need a source host. Let's use single quotes. And in here, I can use a snippet. Nope. Wait. Node. MySQL Style. Replication source host. So used to a 65 keyboard now, because I've been using the Zoom 65 for so long, that I'm now missing actual arrow keys. That's a new one. And again, if you've just joined, let's make this thing interactive. If you have any questions or would simply like to say hello, do so. Of course, it's also perfectly legit to lurk in the background. Source host. We'll need a source user. That does make sense. We'll need a source password. Source port. Why not? But we'll set that by default, so it won't be required. And for MySQL 8, if we're not using TLS connections, we'll need the user key as well. So we'll have to set get source user key, public key. Get source public key equals 1. And that is it. And now we'll have to define these node attributes. Just noticed a nice little detail that for the source port, Copilot actually left off the quote signs, and that's correct. This is definitely autocorrect on steroids. I really like that. I did, however, switch Copilot off for text files because I really want to write my own stuff. I won't have my stuff written by an AI. Okay. Let's go ahead and set a few attributes, shall we? So that's going to happen in an attributes file, in this case in the default RB. Default replication enable. Replication enable. Is there a need for basically a feature flag or a toggle? Oh, well, maybe there is. And by default, we won't set this up. Yeah, false is usually a good default in this case. Now, we'll need a replication user, that's correct. However, we'll call it REPL. We'll need a password. Why not? We'll leave it at REPL by default. That needs to be set. Replication master is not correct. We'll call it replication source host. Oh yeah, we'll need it to make that source user and source password as well. And let's have it in the order it appears in the SQL file. Source host, then we'll need a port, and that's 3306 by default. Perfect. So that's that. And I would say let's go right ahead and write a test case for that. So I'll go into my test configuration first, where I set these settings. Am I going to use the server test suite for that? Yes, I will. Replication enable true. Replication source host source db .example.com replication source user is going to be source replication source password is going to be secret. And let's exercise all the available attributes, so we'll use 3307 for this test. That's that. I just remembered one thing. If we create this SQL file, the change replication source will only work if we do stop the replication first. Does that require... Or is that stop replication? Start replica. Starts the replication threads either together or separately. Use start replica in place of start slave. Okay, so it's stop replica and then change replication source. And the replication source is still missing the replication coordinates here. That will have to be specified separately because, yeah, we can't get those in our automation script here. But, and that's exactly the reason why it doesn't do a start replica after this command, because after this command we have only done half of our job. We'll then have to set the replication coordinates, the binlog file and the binlog position, and only then we'll be able to then issue the start replica command. Okay, now that's that. With these node attributes defined, we can now go ahead and add something to our server test suite. And that's exactly... No, it's not exactly that. It did pick up the theme, but... not the correct file. Its content should match. Yeah, Copilot has definitely seen some chef code before, or in this case, inspec code. Now we have some issue with making this distribution specific. So that's replication source host source.example.com. Source user is source. Password is going to be secret. And source port is going to be 3307. Okay. This should work at least for the Ubuntu 20 variant, because for Ubuntu 16, well, it will also work for Ubuntu 16 for the time being, but the script that gets generated won't work because that's not the syntax understood by MySQL 5. So we'll have to create specific configuration and tests for Ubuntu 16 in this case. But let's do the main case first. So let's do a new terminal where I can change into the cookbook directory. Here we have our test suites. I'm interested in the server test suite and for that matter in the Ubuntu 2004 test suite. So let's run the converge for server Ubuntu 2004. Then I'll take a look at the system as soon as it has launched and is reachable for me. That should be the case now. But now I have to wait for a minute or two for Chef to do its thing and set up MySQL first. Let's have some coffee. It's almost empty already. One thing I can do in the meantime is something that we have been neglected so far, and that's documentation. Why are you astonished, Balthazar? Yeah. That's going to be JSON, so replication enable. True. Dev creates an SQL file, application SQL that sets these details, that does a change replication with these details before starting replication. First, also set the replication coordinates. Manually. Oh yeah, that's a good point, Balthazar. We have the same issue because humidity is a real problem, especially I think with UK and Irish housing. These houses are so prone to become damp and moldy, and we are doing our very best to not get mold in the house because I'm already suffering from slight asthma as it is. And venting is really important, and we do so after taking showers or drying stuff inside if it's raining and things like that. So yeah. Does Chef have any in-place documentation tooling, like taking doc strings and such from functions? No, it does not, because functions aren't really relevant. The documentation needs to be a little bit more high level. You'd have to simply tell people which recipes to call. So how this automation gets tied to a server is you have these recipes up here, right? And We have the internal convention that recipes starting with an underscore are internal or private recipes. So they are not to be used from the outside. They are cookbook internal recipes, but these recipes starting with backup, client, firewall, and so on, those are basically the public API of the cookbook. And every server or node in Chef parlance has what's called a run list. And in this run list, you basically add recipe names and also roles. For example, roles are a more abstract thing than again. But let's stick with recipes. So basically, a node has a list of recipes, and when Chef runs on this node, it'll then iterate over these recipes and simply call them. And each recipe will then be executed from top down. So let's go back to our internal replication recipe. All this recipe is going to do is to write a file from a template defined here with the source attribute. So Chef will take the replication.sql.erb, fill out the placeholders, and then it'll write it to etc MySQL replication.sql. And then there is the possibility to automate subsequent actions. In this case, I'm not going to automate this right away. I think we might want to in the future, but I leave that to future us. So what I could do here is have this script executed automatically. The way that works is you basically define an execute resource, set up replication. I'm hearing my son calling from the outside, so he needs to be let in. I'll be right back. All right, here I am again. Yeah, so I was about to answer the question, is there a way to basically auto-generate some documentation? And no, I don't think there is, because basically you just have to document which recipes to call in which situation for which use case. And I was about to explain how we would automate executing this SQL file. So you would have an execute section where there is a command. And yeah, that's perfectly correct what Copilot just spat out. You basically run the MySQL command with this SQL file, but you set the action to nothing. So when Chef executes this recipe, it will ignore this execute resource, but it will create an internal representation of this resource nonetheless. And so I can actually add a notify attribute here, where I can tell Chef if this resource changes state, which means this file had to be updated because the contents of this file have to change according to the node attributes. It will then notify the execute resource named setup replication, and it will notify it with the run action instead of the nothing action, which means in this case then the execute resource will be executed, namely run, and that way changes in replication.sql would immediately take effect. However, this would also stop replication from the current source, just because of how this script replication.sql is made, and that's not always desired. I think we can't assume that this will always be desired. So I leave that to the operator. If node attributes change, then I think at the moment I'd like this to be a manual process where a human makes the decision and determines the timing, and not the automation. Okay, so what I need to document is basically that all people have to do is call the or set the node attributes, because replication.rb will be called automatically, but that's of course only the case if I also include it in the default or in the server recipe in this case. So people have to add the server recipe to the node run list of a database node, and in that case then we get everything set up. And there are a few recipes where we are missing the underscore, even though they are internal. I think that's something that we need to fix as well. But I'll do that in a separate commit. Let's try and split things up in a logical way. So the merge request that I'm going to submit later is going to be more easy to review. So let's see, what have we changed so far? The README, the attributes, the kitchen file, which we'll need for testing, the server recipe to include the newly created replication recipe, the template. Yeah, I'm not going to include the sensu change here, because that's going to be a commit by itself as well. And the server spec, yes, that's connected to the kitchen YAML. So that's part of the main change, and the template as well. Let's do the main change first, because that's, I think, what's going to be copied into the merge request too. So let's do a git add. in this case now, I'm actually going to use LazyGit. Even though on Tuesday I said I don't use LazyGit too many times. Mostly I'm relying on the command line. In this case, where I have to pick stuff for my commits, LazyGit makes things much easier because I can navigate the TUI here and simply press space on the stuff that I want to include. So the main change includes the attributes change. It does include the replication and server RB, the latter of which will include the former. We'll need the replication SQL. We are not going to include the sensu change. The test is okay. README and kitchen as well. And now I can simply press C and write a commit. And that is a feature change for MySQL Freestyle setup replication source. This change how do we call that? Re-implements the replication setup SQL file from the old cookbooks. We did have that in the past, but we've ditched these old cookbooks and built our own, and now this missing feature has been re-implemented. And that is going to close issue number 893. I can tell that because I'm in branch 893-something. And not only is that always a great reminder for my leaky memory, it's also going to immediately associate the merge request that I'm going to submit with this issue, which is always a great thing. And now, how do I submit this actually? Because if I press enter, that's... wait, I think I'm going to press Control Enter. Is that it? No? Shift Enter? No? Alt Enter? Alt Enter. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, so now we'll add that change. That's going to be a... is there a cleanup in the commit? How's that called?
Unix system. I know this.
The Lummen. Welcome to the stack. Thank you for following. That's very kind of you. How's your day going so far? And Dragon Dust joining us as well. Hello. What are we making? The plan command is going to tell you, but at the moment I'm working on infrastructure automation to set up MySQL replication between two MySQL databases. And now I'd like to... How are these commits called again? Are this conventional commits or something? It's not conventional commits, but something like that. Oh, it is. Speaking of leaky memory, I can still retain a few things. It's not AWS, our infrastructure. So what I'm doing is I do the infrastructure code for our managed hosting platform. And that runs on a mix of bare metal servers, especially for databases. We use all the resources we can get. And so we get actual hardware servers for those, and web application servers and other stuff that needs to be able to scale horizontally is actually running on cloud instances. Most of our infrastructure runs at Hetzner, so these web application servers and other things are going to be based on Hetzner Cloud. Quick summary, full specification. What is the type? The type feed fix. Commit contains the following structure. That, wait, fix feed breaking change. types other than fix and feed are allowed, such as build, chore, CI docs, style, refactor, perf, test. Okay, so there's a lot of freedom. In this case, I'll call it chore. Remove. Senso. Configuration. A new Temple OS. Why would I build a new Temple OS? Did you go and read my biography? And found out that very far in the past, I actually thought about becoming a Catholic priest. I'm not really interested in Catholicism or almost any other ism anymore. I'm pretty much a follower of the Ferris Bueller philosophy that isms are generally not great. That's actually a thing that I'm struggling with, because idioms like "thank God" are so ingrained that I often have a hard time to not use them. Okay, so are we clean? Yeah, we are clean now. That's nice. However, I missed a few things because, for example, I need to bump the cookbook version. So let's do that now. We can always rebase that in after the fact. So this is a bump minor. Finally, yeah, I'm in the wrong shell here. That needs to be done here. Rake bump minor. Finally, a minor change, because lately I've been mostly doing breaking changes, which always require a major version jump. I'm pretty happy that it's now just a minor jump. And in order to get my test suite finishing successfully without complaining, I'll have to also create a changelog entry for that version, the version being 910. So let's do that here. V910, and so that is going to be an added feature. Create an SQL file with the replication source details. Doesn't do much more. Yes, they did. They brought me that from their vacation over in Peru. They spent Christmas in Peru and New Year's as well, and left me alone here in perfect solitude.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Shags, welcome. Thank you for following. I really appreciate it. And it's a really cozy and nice hat, so I'm not sure. I think it's made from alpaca wool, so yeah, I really love it. It's great, especially for coding, keeps the noggin warm. Now, with the changelog entry done, we might have a chance to see our tests working as well. Let's try the tests for the 2004 version first. Well, maybe did the yeah, converge did work.
I know this.
Ovisek, welcome. Welcome to the stack. So converge did work, which is always a good sign if that works at first attempt. Now let's see if my newly added tests are working as well, or if I made some... Yeah, that did not work at all. Expected nil to match something. That means the file didn't even get created. Yes, because I was missing the include statement when I ran the converge. So let's go back and converge it again. Only now the file is going to be created. So the Lamen and Ovisek, how's it going? Shags as well. How's life? And what are you doing at the moment? What are you procrastinating on by watching this stream? So let me take a look at Etsy MySQL in my test VM. You have mail. That's not a good sign. What might this mail be about? Oh, okay. Okay. Process list snapshot, huh? Can't connect to local MySQL server. That's not good. There should be a MySQL server running. System control status, MySQL. It is running. Maybe that was because process list got executed before MySQL was up. That might be the case, actually. Studying for full stack development. Brilliant. How are you getting on? Okay, so there is a replication.sql. Let's take a look at it. Stop replica. Change replication source to source host. Just a single quote. That's not a good thing. Missing a quote there, and there aren't any entries at all. So I'm not sure why that is. That is strange. Is there a mismatch between how I defined the attributes and how they are getting used? It's all in the MySQL Freestyle namespace, and there's replication enable, source host. I need to use replication enable, actually. Source host is empty. Okay, so replication, source, and then the attributes. I can imagine that it's demanding. It's a huge space. Sometimes even I get a little bit of imposter syndrome by having named my channel Full Stack Live because, yeah, that's a big ticket. So, what's going wrong in my replication setup here? Here we are just referencing the template, so let's take a look at that template again. So there is node, MySQL Freestyle, replication, source host, source user. Ah, you can see what, yeah, okay, I used the wrong placeholder. I'm using Ruby execution placeholders, but I need output replacement placeholders. Otherwise, this will always be empty, and we also need a closing quote sign here. Is there something with my video? Because in my OBS I can see my camera still doing its thing, even the face detection. And Restream also shows a moving picture, so I hope everything is still okay. If my face is going to freeze, it's probably because I have the window open, just to have a little bit of fresh air. And it's still around freezing out there. Let me know how things look like on your side of the stream. I have no indication why things wouldn't be working. Everything seems to be green. Where am I based? I'm based on the east coast of Ireland, a little bit south of Dublin. To where I emigrated more than 10 years ago now from Germany. So if you're wondering what that strange accent is where that strange accent is coming from, that's because I'm German. All right. So that should work better now. Let's give that another try. Another converge run should fix the file. We'll verify that first with an inspection. Yeah, that does look better in the diff. Let's try this again. We have now our source host, user, secret, uncommon port, and get source public key. Yes, that does look good. So I would say our tests should be successful now, if I wrote the tests right, which I did not. What are we expecting here? Content is expected to match replication source port. And it's just source port. It's change replication source, and then it's not, you don't have to repeat replication all the time, which does make sense. So I wrote those tests wrong. That's always a good thing. If the test is wrong, that's easy to fix. So we'll actually do this. Wait. And let's run those tests again. Almost. One failure. That's the source host. It's supposed to say source host equals... Oh, we named it sourcedb, not source.example.com. Sourcedb. Well, why not? Now. Okay, good. And yes, the Lemon, I do enjoy living here. There are a few things that I don't like, but I'm pretty sure that would apply to every place on Earth. Overall, I'm pretty happy. Okay, so we'll add these changes to the existing commit. Now let's take a look at how this needs to be different for Ubuntu 16 for our legacy databases. We need a new directory for templates here, and that needs to be Ubuntu-16.04. And in here we need another replication. .sql.erb, and Chef will automatically pick that because it's more specific if the platform it's running on matches the directory name, which is Ubuntu 16.04. Otherwise, it'll use the default directory. So we need to take this and translate that to the outdated terminology, where we'll have stop slave, change master to, and in this case we'll have to substitute source underscore with master underscore, and there is no public key in MySQL 5. So that's going to be a little bit shorter. Let's verify that by spinning up the Ubuntu 16 test VM. I guess I can log out here. And once the test VM has started and is reachable, I can log into that. MySQL doesn't even exist yet because Chef first needs to do its thing. So let's have a little bit of patience. Folks, if you have any questions about the stuff that I'm doing or about stuff that you are doing, feel free to ask. Don't hesitate to ask. I'm more than happy to try and help you.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Physio7, thank you. It's really nice of you to follow the channel. Here we go. MySQL should now exist, even though the setup is still in progress. So there is no replication.sql yet. But once it is, maybe we should prioritize that against the more auxiliary stuff like backups and stuff. I would like to see the replication file get created earlier. Can do that already. So in the server recipe, we'll take this. I think it's a good idea to even create this ahead of monitoring. Then backup, then tools. Net data is related to monitoring, so let's move that up there. Yeah. In the end, it really doesn't matter in what order this is getting executed, but that way I won't have to wait for that much longer. Because now I have to wait until net data is set up to even see how this works. There's the replication SQL. Okay, let's take a look. Yep, that is the legacy syntax. But however, that means my tests are not going to work for this operating system, because it'll expect replication and stuff, and there's always talk of some slaves. Yeah, so now we have 4 failures where we previously didn't have 4 failures. Which means I need to make my test operating system dependent. Fizzy asks, what am I building? So my plan for today is building automation for MySQL replication. This is infrastructure code that we use to automate hundreds of Linux servers for our managed hosting platform. And I've been doing mostly work on databases recently, because that requires a lot of love at the moment. Moshiko, hello, welcome to the stack. Yeah, so that code needs to be modernized a lot, and I did a lot of modernizing lately, and today I'm re-implementing the replication setup. Most of our databases have to be highly available, and that's why we use MySQL replication to always have a running copy of our main databases, and this code here is supposed to make setting up new replication followers easier by having all the details already in place. So the operators just have, or system administrators just have to execute an SQL file, and that's it. So for a short time I was considering making these fields here variable by using some kind of a map structure, but I think that's going to be overkill. The Ubuntu 16 support should already be gone, and it's just because of technical debt that it isn't. So I'm not going to make this the most sophisticated Ruby code I can think of. Instead, I'll just do a copy and paste here. And I just need the right conditional here. And thank you, Copilot. I was wondering how this actually works. Okay, that's a little bit much. I'm not going to check this. We'll just have an else. We have a specific code for 1604, and once we've got rid of that, then we can delete that right away. Oh, wait. Until then, I just do a substitution for source, and that's going to be a master. We'll see what Rubocop has to say about this duplication of the describe file block. I think that's fine. I hope Rubocop doesn't disagree. So now let's verify that again with the more intelligent test logic. And we have 17 successful checks for 16 and 17 successful for 20. Nice. Any advice for us new starters? Lots of it. I could talk for hours. If you don't want that, I will subject you to a barrage of tips and stuff that I can think of. Would you like to narrow that a little bit? Narrow that down a little bit. What's your main issue? What are you fighting with the most? Okay, so that is done. We'll add that to the existing commit, so we have a clean Git history here. What I do is I just use my Git whip alias to make a work in progress commit, which I then do immediately rebase into the existing commit, and I do that by moving this commit up one line, and then instead of pick, I'm using the F or the fixup command to make this a part of the commit that is already there and above the WIP line. And by submitting that, we have two clean commits, which is the sensor configuration removal, and the setup replication source is the main commit in here. Everything else that follows after that is just cleanup and chores. With that done, I think we could try and run a full test suite here, including stylistic tests. I hope Robocop will be quiet. Yes, it is. Oh, nice. So now it's going to run those test suites that I've defined, and that will take a few minutes, which will give us a little bit of time to answer the Loman's question. Yeah, so if you're new to the whole DevOps industry... Okay, there's a question. Here's the stack I'm studying. Python, JavaScript, SQL, Django, React, HTML, CSS, MySQL, and AWS Solutions Architect Associate. My fear is employability. Yeah, so the first thing that I'll say is that fear is shared by many other people as well. So at least I can tell you a little bit of, give you a little bit of solace that you're not alone in that. And how you will perform in your first serious programming job. I think my first advice would be, do not be afraid. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because that fear makes you vulnerable. It skews the balance between employers and employees even more than it already is. And I'm saying that as an employer, because yeah, especially if you're based in the US, where, for example, it's much easier to fire people than in other countries. I think being afraid of how you perform will make the job less fun for you. It might even turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy because of that anxiety that will lead you to make mistakes and stuff like that. More mistakes than anyone else would do in the same situation with less anxiety, I guess. So that fear will do you no good at all. So how can you get rid of that anxiety is probably the next question. I think the only thing that people can expect of you people can be justified in expecting you is that you are doing your best. And if you're doing your best, that's fine. if doing your best includes making mistakes or not knowing stuff or still having to learn stuff or not having enough practice in stuff, let me tell you one thing. I've been in this industry since 1984 and in my professional career for 30 years now. I still don't know stuff. I still make mistakes on a daily basis. I still need to learn stuff and need to get more practice in specific things. So, don't worry about that. And that's where one of my common advice comes in, and that is be curious, learn what interests you, and find the middle section of the Venn diagram between what companies expect of you and of what you can do well and are interested in. Because that's what makes you employable. And companies will come up with their expectations on their own. You don't have to worry about that. So take care of the other side of the diagram by finding out what you are passionate about, by finding out what your strengths are, and cultivating those. And that way, I think you can prepare ideally for your new job, and also succeed in interviews. Did that help? Let me think. Keep asking, by the way, if there's anything that you'd like to go deeper on, or if something that I said didn't make sense to you or something like that. I'm happy to clarify. I'm happy to reconsider. Now I'm curious, what's that new perspective? Always happy to take the time. That's what I'm doing this stream for. That's actually, shameless plug, what I'm also doing my side business for, which is monospacementor.com, where I do mentorships and courses for IT professionals, mainly system administrators and Ruby developers. So if there's anything I can do on that side, always happy to. That's the business I'm building up right now on the side to my managed hosting business. Yeah. That's the first thing that I would give people on the way is don't be anxious, don't worry too much. And if there's something where it's justified to be worried about because you're applying for, say, a Python development job and your Python isn't really great, then the only thing that helps with that is to get more practice with Python programming. And then again, there's the curiosity part. Be curious, build a website using Django, use MySQL as your database system, build your own blog based on Django and MySQL, or do another service that interests you, and get some practice there. It'll introduce you to so many things that you need in real life jobs, that being curious and doing something that interests you will help you. In this example, you learn about MySQL, how to interface with MySQL from Python and Django, how to integrate the web design side of things. So you need to generate HTML, you need to build your own CSS for your website to look nice. Find a pet project that has actual real-life value for you, because it's going to be your personal website where you can showcase your portfolio or write articles about things that you've just learned recently. Which is, by the way, also interesting for employers. If you have a website where you can point people to and you can tell them, here in the last 8 months, you can basically read my journal of things that I learned, mistakes that I made, stuff that I learned from these mistakes. That's also something that you can show as a proof of knowledge and a proof of practice to your prospective employers. So that's definitely something that I can highly recommend. The salary question is a little bit harder to answer, because that'll definitely depend on the policy that your employer has in terms of salaries. Usually, employers have salary bands. And clear definitions, hopefully, for who fits which band and where someone would fit within a specific band. So if, for example, you have a junior developer job that pays between 3K and 6K per month, your employer will hopefully have some kind of a guideline who's going to get the 3K and who's rather going to get the 6K. Asking for these guidelines, or at least asking that specific question to your manager, will probably give you the clarity you need. Because your manager should be able to answer that question concisely and precisely. Otherwise, that would mean it's completely arbitrary and just depending on your manager's mood, which would be a tough situation to be in. So that's definitely a question that you probably should actually ask your manager. Or the people doing the interview with you. If you're interested in that beforehand, I think that's also a valid question to ask as an applicant, to say, okay, yeah, you gave me this salary band, so can you give me an indication of the criteria or the key metrics that I would need to fulfill in order to be at the higher end of the spectrum? That's a perfectly valid question to ask in an interview. Not sure if everyone is going to answer it, but it's worth a shot. Hey, Division by Zero. Hello, welcome to the stack. Good afternoon. My test suite is still running, so we can do a few things. The Laman asks, how do we become great software engineers? That's a question I actually answer on my website. That gives me an amazing opportunity to plug our community, because You get a great software engineer by learning from great software engineers or from great engineers in general. And you'll find quite a few great engineers on our Discord server. And so I invite you to join us over there. And there you can keep asking questions even outside of my streams. And people will be happy to answer them. So thank you for that opportunity. So, tests have finished successfully. That is great. And before anyone uses the can't see reward, I'm going to switch scenes here. Even though there's red on the screen, that's unfortunate that Test Kitchen sometimes uses red to distinguish one test suite from the other. So that's great. We have a clean working tree, which means I think I'll be able to even submit a merge request. So let me just switch to Firefox here just to clarify things, and then we can do a glab merge request create. And we'll continue in the browser. Yeah, actually picked the right window, which is great. Ooh, that's also nice. If there are more than one commit, it'll simply list those commits here. Nice. But we'll have to replace the title, of course, because it's taken this title from the branch name. Yeah, let's call it create SQL file with replication connection details. I'll assign that to me. I'll assign the review to Mr. Division by 0. I'll make review optional because yeah, it's not that the most sophisticated of all changes. But there still is something that I'd like to do, but that's not related to the existing commits, so I will actually create that merge request and do a few more changes. You're very welcome, the Lemon. If there's anything else, please keep asking. You can be sure that if you have that question, there will be other people maybe viewing this stream that have the same question, and I'm happy to answer it for all of you. So keep asking. Okay, that's that. So what I wanted to do is actually verify something, and that is, I think at some point we failed to mark recipes as internal recipes. Oh, and there's the enable replication thingy as well. That's something that I missed, so I'll have to add that as an additional commit. Now that I've submitted a merge request, and other people might already be checking this branch out to review it, now I can't make any rebases anymore. I can't now go and rewrite history because that would prevent people from pulling in new changes. So from now on, I must be a little bit more disciplined in the way I do commits. I can only add commits to the end of the list now. Which is a little bit unfortunate because I forgot about a single thing related to replication, and that's using the conditional here. So what I need to do is actually, yeah, exactly that. If replication is enabled, then we'll write this file. Actually, No, I didn't assume that you jumped at the opportunity to review the merge request right away. So Division by Zero is a colleague of mine, by the way. But yeah, I'm just explaining my standard operating procedures here. Actually, am I going to remove this file if replication is disabled? I think for the sake of clarity, that should actually be the case. So let's make the action dependent on the situation, and that's easy to do because I can simply say if that is true, replication enable is true, then use the create action. If not, use the delete action. So we don't have to make the whole thing here conditional, just the action will be depending on if replication is enabled or not. But then I think what does make sense is we can say if not node replication enable. No. That's interesting. That block that Copilot just came up with, using an execute resource to execute the RM command, is exactly what the :delete action up here does, but it's much more readable that way. So that is not good chef code, to use an execute resource to do stuff that chef has built-in features for. So no, that's not what I wanted to do. What I actually want to do is stop replication. So if we actually set replication enable to false, then I want to run a command that stops replication, and we'll do that by running mysql-e. Now we have to be operating system dependent again. So we'll do this. Stop replication SQL equals if platform version equals 1604. Then it has to be stop slave. And else, it's not stop slave IO thread, it's stop replica.
I know this.
Tiny Dean, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stack. So that's that. And then we'll use exactly this command. Let's just finish the framing here, and then we can actually do, oops, that's that, and then stop replica SQL. But we'll have to have root credentials to do that. The Lemon, thanks for stopping by. Have fun studying. Best of success. And I hope to talk soon. So I'll steal this from... Oh, you know what? yeah, there's another opportunity to build nice chef code, because yeah, we've been doing that for a lot, where we have to set up stuff, and there's always this MySQL as root, where we define a string that uses the root user and the root password to do stuff, and I'm pretty sure we should make this a library function where we can actually have a central method that generates this command for us, instead of repeating and copying pasting the same thing over and over again. And if we find a way to run the MySQL command without having the password on the CLI, which is also a little bit ugly, and ugly is the more polite way to phrase this, yeah, then we can modify that at a central place and don't have to fix that everywhere we copied and pasted that. So let's make this libraries folder here, and it's libraries folder, right? Where did I do that before? Where did I extract the library stuff? Which cookbook was that? Was it MySQLX? Yeah, there's a libraries folder. Okay, good. Libraries, and I guess we'll call that MySQL root command.rb. We'll need a frozen string literal, and then we'll do a class MySQL root command with initialize, and we'll simply add a command, right? Yeah. So we'll pass in the SQL. Let's call it SQL command then. SQL code. And I'll delegate creating the actual command. No, we'll do it differently. What I'm going to do is we'll store it as an instance variable, and as a command we'll then return that.
Flush the bombers, get the subs in launch mode. We are at DEFCON 1. DEFCON 1?
Oh dear, Kid Billy. Thanks for the raid. How is it going? Thank you. Welcome, raiders. Hello, 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 hello. How's everyone? How was the stream, Kid Billy? What did you do? Let's see. Let's do a shout out to Kid Billy. Sorry about the message. The attack and defend commands are offline at the moment. I need to get my personal Twitch bot ready again. For the time being, I should actually take that out. Sorry for that. That would be a little bit of fun with the attack and defend commands, but I forgot to actually launch my specific bot there. buying farmland to build towns for LAN parties. That's an excellent idea. What I'm about to do is simply I'm doing my daily work and let people watch me doing that and watch me suffer. My company is a managed hosting company. We are running hundreds of Linux servers, and with our tiny team, we can't do that manually. Of course, it would be a catastrophe. So everything needs to be automated, and what I'm doing here is writing the code that does this kind of automation. I'm using the configuration management tool Chef for that. Yes, I'm a business owner. I started this company 13 years ago, and other than my previous businesses, it did actually last and sustain me. So that's a new one, and I'm pretty happy about that, to be honest. And it's a lot of fun most of the time. If I don't have to get up in the middle of the night to fix a broken server, that's something that is definitely a lot of fun. And I'm sharing that fun here on my stream. Thanks for following, Kid Billy. That's very kind of you. I'm still intrigued by the farmland to build towns for LAN parties idea. What insight did you find? Let me see. We are adding this. Then, of course, we need the escaped quote signs just to be able to have that SQL code in there. And Copilot copied. Oh, interesting. Yes, it did actually guess the node attribute right. It's going to be in MySQLX server root password. That is amazing. Sometimes I'm really surprised how well Copilot guesses these things. Yes, of course, there's always errors, and we have to take that into account, and that's why, for example, for our database servers, we usually run them in a redundant way to get high availability, and that's exactly what I'm doing today. This code that I'm building right now is about setting up replicas of database servers where the changes that are made by the main writing node are automatically and more or less immediately replicated by other nodes as well, so that we have a hot copy that we can switch to in cases where the main machine goes down or has to go down for maintenance or something like that. So in order to minimize downtime as much as possible, we can then simply switch to that hot standby server. Kid Billy, thank you for the raid again, and have fun at work and have a great day.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
It's up. Thank you very much for the follow. Talked about people like Bill Gates, other tech billionaires buying more farmland, and found like someone on 2 million acres. Fuck me, that's actually like a small country. Talked about that idea of tech country and what should be in it. Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that. I love that idea. LAN party town. Fiber infrastructure. High performance game servers. Count me in. Count me in. I'm going down to LAN party town. Cluster city. Definitely. Oh dear. That's amazing. That my mind is blown. get sponsorships from game companies. Have a central arena that can be used for all kinds of events. Oh, that's amazing. I can still... Oh god, now it's Grandpa talks about the war. I can still remember going to my first private LAN party with friends from school, where we did actually schlep our PCs to one of my mates' house and set up an IPX network and play Doom. And that's, I think, that was where I played a first-person deathmatch for the first time. And it was so much fun. And I still remember, after playing a few rounds, I got up and realized that my knees were actually shaking. I was so full of adrenaline that I was literally shaking, I really needed a little bit of chill out time to recover. But that was so much fun. Theo, welcome to the stack. Nice of you to show up. That's really nice. Ooh, null modem. That's another blast from the past. Yeah, that's what you did if you didn't want to actually get network cards and stuff like that. Just connect the two via a serial line. All right, that MySQL root command should do the trick. So I'm not only going to use that in my replication recipe here, but also I'll replace the other places where this turns up. Laplink, those were the days. Did use Laplink more than one time. Okay, so stop replication. Instead of stop replication SQL, I'll call that stop replication command, and we'll do the MySQL root command. And do it like this. There's new missing, so same goes here. MySQL root command new. And just in case people are still wondering why people use Vim as an editor, I'll show you how I do the parentheses around this. What I have to tell Vim here is enclose that string that is delimited by those double quotes with the round parentheses. And so I'm going to tell Vim that by actually saying insert surrounding parentheses, which is ys, and then I need to tell it where, and I'll tell it around the quote signs, which is a quote. So by doing ys a quote round parentheses, it'll automatically enclose that string with parentheses without me having to do cursor movement and stuff like that. Theo, this is the church of NeoVim. NeoVim, it can never be blasphemous here. It's surprised it's actually been, they have been already looking into terminal-based editors. I can recommend that. I mean, I'm biased definitely, but someone actually wrote a blog post that I read once saying, Linux is my IDE. And that's true for me too. I'm mostly working in the terminal and from the terminal. That includes Vim or NeoVim in my case. And I also use the Linux shell, as you can tell from my Tmux windows down here, for most of my stuff. So in order to interact with Git and things like that, I'm mostly using the shell. And if I don't use shell commands, I can still use nice tools like LazyGit here, which allows me to have a nice user interface and something that can be used quite quickly, and still not leave the terminal, still not have my fingers move away from the keyboard. So that's definitely something that makes you much more efficient if you can live in the terminal, as I do when I do development work. Tiny Dean, it's not going to be as hard if you simply switch your IntelliJ to Vim mode, which I hear is pretty good. So especially if you are using one of the IDEs from JetBrains, their Vim mode is pretty great, and you will still be able to use your familiar user interface. So let's switch back to my editor. And that's also quite easy and possible with just the keyboard. I'm using Tmux to have many terminal sessions open at the same time. And you can see that these windows, as it's called, have numbers. And I can simply switch between those using the Control-A prefix in my case. I've set it up that way because Control-A is something I can simply press with my pinky finger and my ring finger. And Control-A1 gets me to my editor, Control-A2 gets me to my shell window, and Control-A3 gets me to the other shell window. And so it's really easy to switch between those. And another reason why this is very easy for me is my keyboards always have the Control key where usually the caps lock key is. So Control and A are actually directly next to each other. So all that I have to do now is prefix. So I'm going to use the stop replication command here. So that's stop replication command dot command. Yes, exactly. It's a little bit redundant command, stop replication command dot command, but to be honest, I can't think of anything that's more concise here. So that should make sure that replication is stopped whenever the replication enable flag is set to false. Now, let's see if this actually compiles and runs. That's my TKC command. Wait, what? Oh, wrong window. TKC. And Fuzzing Jig also joining the chat. Welcome again. Good to see you. Oh, ITSAP is working with Erlang. Erlang is amazing. I mean, especially for its use case of concurrent programming. The performance you can get out of Erlang if you have something that has high concurrency, like for example a web server or something like that, is brilliant. If I had a use case for highly concurrent programming, I would definitely use Erlang. And then I might actually use Phoenix as a web framework as well. But alas, I don't have anything that is high concurrency. And since I usually need to have something that I really want to do, to have a project that I don't abandon 20 minutes after starting it. Yeah, I'm probably not going to get into Erlang anytime soon. Which is sad, on one hand. I would love to learn Erlang, but there's so many other things. It's surprised I like a lot of the concept it has. First time encountering functional programming. Yeah, functional programming in general is something that I also would love to do a little bit, because it's one of these paradigms that I haven't explored yet. I've done a lot of programming languages, some strange ones, such as Prolog, for example, but I've never done functional programming, and I feel that, yeah, at one time I need to get that gap on my map filled out. You folks are doing really great stuff. So I broke my recipe here, and that is because why? Undefined local variable or method platform version. Yes, that's node platform version, of course. Platform version itself is another node attribute. In this case, it's one that the user can't influence. So now I need to enclose platform version with both quotes and square brackets. So I'll do a YSW, which means enclose this word, and we'll use quotes. And then I'll do another YSA quote square bracket to enclose it in square brackets. And I haven't even moved my cursor. So that's that. That should get this working. Yeah, Prolog was just for one semester at uni when we did logic. It was interesting, but I'm pretty sure I've forgotten everything about that in the meantime, which has been 2 or 3 years. Okay, my Ruby syntax is okay, which I can tell by Chef actually executing my code. And there shouldn't be any changes on the virtual machine, because all I've done is refactored the way that... No, I didn't just refactor it, I added the replication stoppage. But since replication is enabled in this test case, it's not going to get executed. Do I have to create another test case for replication being stopped? I don't think it's worth the effort and waiting time for that. Oh, and Theo, by the way, in case you're still watching, down here you can actually see that I didn't lie about my CPU load while streaming. Most of that CPU load is actually this VM here executing and not OBS. Did it? What's that? It creates varlog MySQL error log. Interesting. It also did... Does it stop MySQL every time here? Oh, that's the test recipe. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was worried for a second there, because if my recipe would restart the database server every time it's executed, that would not be fit for production. The auto-tracking, I can't tell you actually. That's part of the OBS setup I'm using, and it's called the Face Tracker plugin. I had to fiddle a little to get it working, so I fiddled with the settings a little bit, and then it worked out nicely. So I'm really just a dumb user in that regard. I can't actually tell you what it is. But I think I can't imagine that there are many face tracker plugins for OBS, so you should be able to find that quite quickly. Let me give a shout out to Wimpy's World here, actually. Let's do that. At Wimpy's World, I think. Because Martin over there built a great DistroBox image. So it's basically a container image that comes with a full Ubuntu system and a fully loaded OBS installation with, I think, 50 plugins already pre-installed and tested. And all I had to do was create a new DistroBox instance with that OBS image, and I had a fully working OBS with all the plugins I can eat. And yeah, I'm very, very happy with it. It works great, and thanks to DistroBox having added NVIDIA support recently, it works with the NVEnc encoder and everything. So yeah, that's definitely that's a great thing. The DistroBox image is distributed by uBlue. So if you Google for, or more likely DuckDuckGo for uBlue and OBS, you'll definitely find it. uBlue is Universal Blue, which is the Linux distribution, the flavor of Fedora Silverblue that I'm using. My watch is reminding me to take my vitamins. So, okay, so this time it did finish, which is great. BitSpectre, welcome to the stack. Definitely Linux Penguin time. That's that. Now, let's... So all I did was this replication, the library. Okay, so if I would go and, for example, yeah, look at that. Everywhere we're using userbin MySQL and root and stuff, and execute that. Instead, we'll simply say flush command, or let's use CMD. That does avoid one of the occurrences of the word command. We'll do MySQL root command. Yes, thank you. And we can actually call command even, and that way all we have to do is this command flush command. But that's a nothing action, and I'm not even sure if that gets executed. Yes, it does. It gets executed by monitoring, for example, where the grants here call it as a secondary action. And we'll... so many variations of how to call MySQL with the root user. It isn't even funny. Here we have the grant SQL. So why not call that? And we can get rid of that. I think that's the most succinct way we can do this. Let's go back here and do the same. Why even use a temporary variable like that? We can simply do it like this. And yeah, that's why it's always a good idea to extract recurring code into a library. It makes your chef recipes much easier to read. I'm pretty sure we have the same thing in the net data recipe. Here we have the grant SQL again. And all we have to do is MySQL root command with the grant SQL. Oh dear, so much cleaner, isn't it?
I know this.
Coding is weird. That's not only true, but also a great viewer. Thank you for following. I really appreciate it. Welcome to the stack. Replication already uses it, and yet, yes, that's fine. Instantiating the object here and then calling command on it here. I'm happy with that. Let's see. Do we have backup stuff where we have root thingies? Those are mostly chef resources, as it should be. Not much Ruby code, but just a string of resources. So that way a recipe is really easy to read, because you can see here chef will create a file. Here it will create a cron tab entry. Here it'll create another cron tab entry. And here, if backup is enabled, it'll even include another recipe. So that does make perfect sense. Here's no root shenanigans. Firewall does also not require root access, but there are a few empty lines here that we can eliminate. Pocono toolkit should mostly install stuff. Yep. Process list creates a template, a directory, and a few cron jobs. And server just calls depending, or calls the basically my module recipes here. And again, I think the only official recipes should be the client and the server recipe. And all these other three recipes that don't have a leading underscore should get one. But let's make sure we have reasonable commits first. So that looks good. Let's run tests again, just to make sure that things are still working after my refactoring, but I need to execute that at the right place. So let's execute server for both Ubuntu 16 and 20. Have a nice evening yourself, Marcus. Thanks for stopping by. It's always nice to have you on the stream. Enjoy your evening. And as you can see, there's already breakage. The first VM run for Ubuntu 16 broke, and I'm pretty sure the same is going to happen with 20 as well. Wait, is it? spinning up 20. How did it... I wonder why it wasn't around yet. Okay, so what is broken here? Let's take a look. Undefined local variable or method node. Ah, yes. That's the downside of extracting code into a library when you're using Chef. The node variable or method, it's hard to tell which one it is only available in recipes. And if you want to use it in a pure Ruby file, then you need to pass it in. So what we have to do is we'll have to have two parameters, a node, and then we'll simply call it SQL. So we have two parameters, and I'll make them named parameters because that's always easier to read. And now we have to actually pass that in. So as node, we'll use the actual node object that's available here, and the other thing is our SQL. Let me see. If I pass in node, I need to store that in a instance variable. And I guess we'll use SQL everywhere. Okay, that's that. In monitoring, we'll need the same thing. Then here, and here, we'll need it even twice. You know what? In order to don't repeat ourselves, I'll do the pure SQL here. Oh, another Vim thing, if you're not familiar. So I'd like to delete everything to the parentheses, but not including the parentheses. All I need to do is press D for delete, then T for to, but not including, and then I'll say parentheses, so left parentheses. DT left parentheses deletes everything until to the parentheses, and then I want to delete the surrounding parentheses, which is DS closing parentheses. Ding, that's it. So here we need to do MySQL root command dot new. We'll need to enclose stop replication command with parentheses. I can use the word movement here because the period sign will delimit that. So I can do YSW surround the word I'm at the beginning of. Parentheses. Then I need to do node SQL stop replication, not command, but SQL. So I'll have to go to the underscore, which I'll do by F underscore. And I'm using a plugin that asks me to which underscore. So I'll press T to go here. And then I can do CW for change word, SQL, and that's that. Okay, and other than that, we did change firewall. Why did we? Just to remove empty lines. So all our occurrences where we used MySQL root access should now be fixed. Okay, that converge did work. And just to scroll up a little bit, here we can even see the code that it did execute. It did execute mysql-u root-p password-e and the command, so that's working as intended, but the code is now much cleaner. And we don't repeat ourselves all the time. It's almost 5 o'clock again, and I still wanted to do some work on my varnish course, but that's not going to happen today, I guess. But still, I'm happy with the time I spent here because, as I said before, this is all to eliminate technical debt and make things easier for ourselves. And having good code that's more maintainable and easy to understand is always great. This is an investment into future simplification, for an investment into spending less time with toil. So definitely something that I value. And we did spend a little bit of time answering questions and stuff, and that being said, if you have any questions, please pop into chat, ask about the stuff that I'm doing if you're interested in that, if you want me to explain something more, but also ask if you have any questions about the stuff that you are doing or about to do, or something that interests you in the IT space, especially if it's about system administration, Ruby coding, software engineering in general. That's something that I'll be able to answer helpfully, I hope. One thing that I see coming up is running my full test suite here, which will always take a few minutes, as it's already doing actually, but that's more of the manual run. And I'd like to test this manually quite quickly, but then we'll run the full test suite, and while that is working, we'll spend a little bit of time with words on stream. Actually, why not start that right away? I can always go back to the test suite. So let's get this going. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, Words on Stream gives you letters, and you're supposed to build words with that. Names aren't allowed. Letters can't be used twice. And you can simply post your solutions to chat. If you're right and have found a word, you will be locked until the timeline has passed the next checkpoint, and only then you can enter your next solution. And let's see who can beat Balthazar. Here we go. Now I'm going to be locked until the timeline passes the first lock sign. Sting is nice. Unfortunately, there's no string. Yeah, sitting. Maybe I should not sit that near to the screen. That, I think, makes it easier to spot the words. Git is unfortunately not allowed. Words have to have at least 4 letters. But gist is. Nice. Tings? What is a ting? I mean, I'm always at a disadvantage as a non-native speaker, but I'm also intrigued by the words that exist. Yeah, of course, if there are tings, then there's a ting. Which got us over the goal level. Wow! That was a good round. 2 stars. Good job. Let's go on. Wow. My wife would be proud. Taco, now you're making me hungry, Tiberian. But still, welcome to the stack. Dragon Dust, you're too slow. What else can there be? Ooh, lace. Okay. So many more words. Toll is a word. That was such a guess. Talc, yeah, okay. Aloes, brilliant. Collate would be a double L. But hey, Friedrich Engels, welcome to the stack. Didn't know you were still around. Let me quickly check my test suite. That finished successfully. I'll run my verification quickly.
I know this.
Both successful, which means I'm going to run my full test suite just to see that everything is in order while we will continue. At least for a few more rounds, because then I love to pee. Everyone's doing a great job here. Yeah, sometimes the words are really strange. Retro, yes. This time we almost got them all. Nice work. Euro, of course. Handing in my citizenship card. 3 levels. Amazing. Oh dear. Attention, there is a fake letter, so if some words don't work, that's because of the fake letter that's hidden in there. How is Grok not allowed? Okay. Don't see the fake letter yet. Maybe it's the second K or something. No, knock is the second K. Yeah, must be the G. Yep. Wait, how does cock not work? Ah, ogre can't work because it's a G. That is a nicely done level 8. Still salty one. Why that cock didn't work. It's a perfectly valid animal. Another fake letter. Seep should be a word, shouldn't it? Pest should be a word too. Either the E, yeah, the S is obviously valid, so it's probably the second E. We'll see. Yeah, if feet doesn't work, yeah, it's the second E. Wait, step doesn't work? Yeah. What? Now I'm confused. Is it the P? I think it's the P. Yep. Test. Huh? How does test not work? I'm really confused. Fet does work with 2 E's, feet does work with 2 E's. It's the P. Thank you. Ooh. by a hair. We got to level 10. No, tell 11 even. Okay, let's see how far we can go. Another P. Not doing its job. Wait, I didn't read tech. Probably a little bit too early. Full fear, thank you. Rest reminds me that I'm going to have another World of Warcraft raid tonight. Okay, up next, level 13. A hidden letter. It's not an E. Probably. Ha! Is the S broken? Level 13 is nothing bad. Really good. Let's see. Total ranking. Balthazar, far ahead. Fuzzing Jig, still good. It's up. Then me. Friedrich, then Dragon Dust, Tiberian. Well done, folks. Thank you for playing. So, let's see. Ooh, my test suite broke with Robocop. Ooh, did I actually? Yeah, okay, unless is actually the better choice. Where did I do that? I didn't look, but that is probably in the replication. If not, can be better expressed as unless. It's debatable if that's actually the case in this particular situation, but still, I'm not going to fight Robocop minutes before I have to go to the bathroom. All right, folks. So I guess I'll run this test suite and then I'll submit. No, I have already submitted the merge request. I just have to push my additional commits here. So this was really great. I was able to improve my code a lot, and this is great progress for eliminating technical debt. And I had a lot of fun with a lot of great conversations, great questions. That was really good. And I'll be back tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. UTC with my office hour, where I'm going to sit there and just wait for your answers. So if you have any answers by that time, you can either post them in our Discord, which you can get here. Lots of friendly people over there who are happy to help and happy to have a conversation. And if you want to pose your questions live on stream, you can do that too, of course. And we'll see what the questions are going to be all about. I can't prepare for anything in this case. It's up to you as the viewers to contribute your questions, and all I do is talk a lot after the question is on screen. So thank you for that. I hope you're having a great rest of your day. And I hope to talk to you soon. Let's find out if we can raid anyone. Let's see. Is there anyone online who we could raid? Yes, there's Finite Singularity, a great builder of OBS filters and stuff. So let's go ahead and raid Finite Singularity. Let's say hi to Mark. I'm going to start the raid now, and also going to open Twitch with their stream. Let's go and see you soon.